Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome to another episode of Advanced Woodscraft. And today we're going to talk about a little bit more about focusing our gear and smoothing it rather than struggling it a little bit. Now to do this, what we're going to start out with, we're going to talk about cordage in this one. And not just the standard, oh, use this ridgeline. I want to take you a little bit deeper in down that rabbit hole. Okay, so let's start out by looking at the cordage. And for today, I've got it in here. Usually I carry my cordage in the top of my flap of my rucksack. So I've got it. Grab a couple of little things out right quick. And now let us talk about cordage. Cordage is how we connect everything together. Cordage is a great time saver and one of the most frustrating things that you're going to encounter whenever we come out to do things, because you got to tie things, bind things, hook things, secure things, etc. And it can be either very easy or a frustrating nightmare and ruin our enjoyment of being in the outdoors. So let's talk about it. Now to begin with, everybody knows about a quick deploy ridgeline. There are many videos on the channels right now talking about this. Both myself, Dave Canterbury, and many others have dealt with this in recent videos. And in a recent video, in fact the very first one in this series, I discussed a quick deploy tarp. Okay? The quick deploy ridgeline is the big grab cord. It is 30 feet of paracord usually, or some other strong cord, and 3 connectors. I use twist tie soft shackles for the connection from this to a prusik knot to the line, and then so it's going the line, the prusik knot, then the soft shackle connector to anchor the grommets of my tarp. I am no longer going to be carrying the ridgeline as a separate component. And I'll tell you why. In the very first video in this series, I talked about making a quick deploy tarp. And you see how fast, if you go watch that video, how fast I can put one up and take it down. So this is really a component of that tarp set and should not be a separate component, because I don't want to have to reconfigure it. In that video, I talked about how this is already hooked up to the tarp. Then the tarp is folded up in such a way that when I pull it out of its carrier, this end goes and hooks. I take the other end down here, I secure it, I grab the tarp, pull it straight out, and it's configured in whatever my most common configuration is. Whether it's configured out to be opened up as a fly over a hammock, or set up to be a lean-to, or set up to be a diamond shelter, etc. I can leave that tarp set up with this and yet quickly reconfigure just by unhooking one grommet and shifting to another hole on the other one. And so therefore I'm set. Now as a demonstration of that, let's look at this. This piece of material, we'll pretend for a second, is a model of a tarp. Okay? If I have my quick release quick deploy ridgeline hooked here and here, then it's set up in this configuration, right, to go over a hammock or something and be the primary cover. If I'm hooked to this corner and this corner, well then it's set up as a lean-to, isn't it? And if I'm hooked from this corner to this corner, that makes it a diagonal, and so I can put it up over a hammock in a diagonal configuration, or put onto the ground like this as a diamond shelter setup, correct? So if I'm hooked at this corner right here and I shift this one to this end, well then it's a lean-to configuration. If I take this and shift these two, it turns into this configuration. So it's very quick to adjust on the fly. All I gotta do is unhook a soft shackle and move to the next hole. That's it. I don't have to do a lot of skullduggery and a lot of knot tying, blah, blah, blah. I can just adjust it. In fact, I can go ahead and put it up and then adjust the tarp and then use the quick deploy lines on my tent stakes to stake it out in whatever configuration. But carrying this as a separate unit, I'm going to abandon that. This will be with the tarp from now on. So this is going to be replaced by something else. Now, my accessory pouch, I've got all my basic cordage sets right here. Now, first off, right out of the bag, is going to be several large hanks of 2 different sizes of bank line. Bank line is utilized as a tie it and forget it for lashings, things like that. So I'm not usually reclaiming this cordage. I'm going to pull it down blood tight and lock it. And a big advantage of me carrying my Fieldmaster pocket knife that I've referenced many times, on the bottom of it, there is this hook. This is a quote package carrier, but it's a perfect for locking and pulling blood tight bank line for lashings where I need it to be structurally sound. Okay, so I've got supplies of bank line. I think it's 2 hanks of 50 feet of 2 different size bank lines. Okay, now we get into the reclaimable. That means this is cordage that I am not leaving. I'm going to use it and retrieve it to do it again. So I can set it up. When I'm done with whatever I'm doing and I'm leaving camp, I can reclaim my cordage, reconfigure it, put it back in the pack, and take it to my next campsite. I don't constantly have to keep rebuilding. Okay? Instead of carrying the quick deploy ridgeline, because if I'm carrying a tarp, it's already hooked to it, right? I could utilize that for other forces if I needed to. I'm going to replace it with this. This is called the long line. That's the name I'm going to be calling it from now on. It has got a bowline knot on the end, a toggle, and this is 20 feet of 550 paracord hanked up, so when I pull it, it just spirals right out. I'm ready to deploy it. Now, why a bowline? The bowline is a loop that will not close up, and yet, even after I put a lot of pressure on it, I can untie a bowline fairly easily. And so therefore, if I needed to take this off, I could. At the same time, if I need to join some of these other lines I'm about to show to this, I've already got the loop to hook to it. So I can go through and hook, or I can put a toggle through or whatever and hook line to line and increase and make a much longer line. Now, many of this stuff that you're going to hear in this video, you're going to say, I've heard it on Dave Canterbury and other channels, and that is correct. It is where I have learned from other people, and so I would like to give a shout out to Dave for looking at his cordage series and his hanking, improved hanking, and a couple other videos that he's posted that were very helpful to me to help me focus my gear. And so therefore I can focus more and give to you. So in this set where Dave talked about, and let me just clarify here, okay? Here's a picture of my cordages. That's what I was doing. I've been using cut links and reclaimable for 10 plus years. But the thing is, I was not starting out with a 100-foot hank and cutting it to given lengths. I was just cutting a length for a purpose and then reclaiming it and carrying it. So this might be a improvised ridge line I may have put up somewhere, and I reclaimed it and kept it. I didn't take the time to measure them. That was something that what Dave was doing really resonated with me. And when I was at Pathfinder gathering this time, me and Dave got to talk a very little bit about cordages and stuff, and it really kind of clicked with me. And that's the reason I'm bringing this video to you. So, it's known lengths, okay, but I'm going to add my own little twist, and I'll get to that in a second. So, instead of carrying the quick deploy ridgeline, I'm carrying a 20-foot long line. And when I grab this out of my haversack, out of my cordage, I need the big lash. That's to wrap it up and lash. I need to make something that's pulled together, that big bundle of firewood, wrap it around 2 or 3 times and use the toggle through the loop and cinch it up tight. That's the big job, the long line. This is also the line for me to hook to my pack and lower it down a bank, or for me to hook a line and help me get up and down a steep bank. Not rappelling, but it's really steep and you need a hand line, something to hold on to. Something like this would be very helpful for that. Next, along that line, I will have, and that is 25 feet, 20 to 25 feet, excuse me. Here are 4 6-foot toggle lines that have a toggle on them. They have a Prusik knot on the limb, but they are 6 feet long, 4 of them. They can be joined together to make a much longer cord, and they can be hooked to the long line to make an even longer cord. These are used as a compression strap. These are used as a quick cinch, where I run it through itself and just pull it tight right quick. So if I'm trying to secure, lash something to my pack, if I'm trying to lash a group of things together to be structurally bearing, like the 4 posts, the 4 ends of 2 poles between trees to make a raised bed, it's a quick lash that I can reclaim. So there's 4 of them made up in the set, and these are 6 feet long with a toggle. Now, this is a wooden toggle. This is just a button I picked up. In fact, all of these are buttons that I picked up at the local place where you do, sewing and stuff like that. These are to go on heavy winter coats, and I found they work just fine. Also right here, that's a cord lock, is what that is. Compress it and open it up, cord lock. I happen to have one of them, so it works well too. Thought I'd put it on there and try it. So we got the long line, and we got the 4 cord locks. Now we come to 4 6-foot Bushcraft zip ties. This has simply got a double knot on the end, so it's got a bowline, and then there's a jam knot right there, and this is used as a Bushcraft zip tie, which is a Canadian jam knot. You go around again, you pull it tight. Since it's got a loop on the end, I can connect these together to add to that to make even more cordage connected, see? So each one of these are 6 feet long. So 12, 24, and then you've got each one of these, 24 and 24, here's 50 feet. And now we're going to add that to the 20 to 25 feet, I believe it is. I think it's like 24 with this one. There, so we're getting close to 100 feet right there. These will be used for lashings predominantly. Lashings that are going to have to be structurally bearing, hold up, but I need to lash something to my pack right quick. I need to lash a chair together, or a table together, or a raised bed together for the night or something. That's what these are used for. Okay. Now, we have 4 soft shackles. And these are twist tie soft shackles that are short. These are meant to hook a piece of gear to a belt or something like that, like this. Say I've got my grail, and this is doing the job of this. Okay? What I do is I simply twist it, unbutton it, just like that. I go through, I put this up through my belt, I untwist, and I button it back through. We're going to talk about twist ties in a minute. And there it is. And the more it pulls, the tighter it gets. So this is doing the job of a carabiner, which I call them carabiners, but doing the job of a carabiner. I can hook up those lines together. I can hook my pack to something like a four-wheeler or to a canoe or something like that. I can put things on my belt and anchor it to that didn't necessarily have a carrier, like this grail. I can hook it to my pack or whatever and carry it this way. And by taking one of those others, I can go around the bottom and hold it so it doesn't flop around. Okay, and now we come to the kind of like the interesting part to me, and that's these twist ties, a Bushcraft twist tie. Now, the soft shackles are a small version of this. Now take a look. Notice they're twisted. They're not just straight loops. That's because a soft shackle that's a straight loop won't hold by itself because you put it over the top and it just pop right back off. But since these are twisted like that, you have to untwist them to get them out, and then they will naturally twist back together tightly. Whenever we scale it up to this way, it becomes something else. This becomes a way of hooking many different things together in camp quickly and very efficiently. So let me take one of the long ones off of here, and I will show you right quick how this is going to work. Okay, got a piece of gear here I want to secure to something. Okay, I just want to hold it closed, right? I take a long one. Now this is about 18, 22 inches, something like that. I want to take it right here in the middle, and since it's been twisted, I grab it. When I pull it, it opens up, but at the same time it puts tension back in it. I put it where the knot is to the top. I pull it out here all the way, and then I let it twist back on itself, just like this, because that's what it wants to do. I put a memory into that rope, and see, it just twists up like that. It don't let go. Now I pull it down tight, and I twist it down even further. Pull, twist. Now when I get it twisted up all the way I want, I'm going to take this end, I'm going to fold it, come up here, and I'm just going to tuck it underneath itself, like that. That's all I got to do. Now that's going to hold, because I've twisted the cord, and it's put almost like a bungee into it where it wants to pull tighter. If I pull it off and just throw it on the ground, it'll coil itself back up into that configuration. And so like that, it's going to hold. To get it out, all I have to do is pull the cord, grab the knot, pull the knot wider open, let go, and simply pull the knot back out, and it will spiral right back up onto itself. Now, how is this useful in what we're doing? Many different ways. I took and demonstrated this early on, where I took bank line and did this. And so I had about a 6-inch piece, and this was hooked to the grommets of my U.S. Army poncho on all 4 corners. As a 6-inch long little piece of bank line hanging there, it didn't hurt nothing because it was twisted up. It's solid like this, but I could easily spread it apart and put a tent stake in it and stake it out for turning it into a shelter. And unlike leaving a loop sitting there that was going to hang up on everything, that little tassel didn't bother me at all. And so this way works very, very good. Now let me take one of these and show you how I can use it to attach a big awkward piece of gear to me or to my pack. Okay, I take the knot to the bottom, I take the other end to the top, and I'm going to come underneath my belt, just like that, and I'm going to pull it all the way up, and then I'm going to open up right underneath the knot, and I'm going to push that loop back through, just like this. So it's now anchored to me, right? Now I take something like this axe, and I come up here at the top. I'm going to open up, I'm going to put the handle through. I'm going to go down below it just a short distance. I'm going to open up again and go through again. Just like that. And instantly, there's a lash to hold it. So it will ride on me securely, won't go anywhere, because the loop keeps it from going further down, and it will stay there. And yet I can pull it, grab a hold, and slide it right out, and it goes right back into that spiral configuration. So it's not going to hang me up. So once again, I spread it, put the handle through it, go down below it, spread it again, and go through it. An instant carrier that's going to hold, and I can spread that handle out. Now let's say I've got something really awkward to carry. I'm carrying 4 of these. And just to add to the kit, I've got a little carabiner. This will be used to secure packs and things like that. So, all of it would fit onto that carabiner if I needed to. But these can be used to connect cords. Now you see I got different lengths of them for different jobs. If I want to put 2 of these onto my pack, roll my jacket up and stick them into it and kink them up and hook it, that'll hold my jacket without any knots. I don't have to tie and untie. I just pop it loose and spread it again. It acts like a bungee, so that whenever I grab it and pull it, it opens up, but when I let go, it retwists right back into that shape, and that torsioning is what's holding it. Now, how to make a bushcraft twist tie. Look in my playlist, and I know that there is at least 2 videos where I have done on how to build a bushcraft twist tie. And finally, we have the little bitty bag that has all the odd pieces that I showed you in that tub, of various sizes and various colors and everything, of 550 paracord turned into a bushcraft zip tie. And I daisy chain them like this, so it doesn't tangle up in the pack, and I know what that is when I pull it out. That is a bushcraft zip tie. Now, here's the other little thing. What I've done is I've color coded my components this way, so I can remember them a little bit better when I'm cleaning up my camp and see them a little bit better. So, we have one 24 feet of a long line that is green. We have 4 of the toggle lines that have the tan, but they're black. Okay, green, black. We have 4 of the big bushcraft zip ties in this black green configuration. There are 4 of the big bushcraft twist ties in orange. And then there are 4 of the soft shackles in blue. So I will always know that that's a soft shackle, right? For quick connection. Now, all of that fits inside the small pouch, plus the bank line. So in goes that, in goes that. These fold up, go right there. These fold up, go right there. These go on top of it for quick grab. And finally, across the top goes the long line. So it's the first thing out when I grab it. Just like that. This will ride in the top of the haversack, those small little pieces. Also, this is made out of paracord. This is that thick, 90 I believe it is, bank line. So yes, you can make the bushcraft twist ties out of the big thick bank line if you wanted to. And if you make them out of the thinner bank line, it works very well, like I showed, as a addition to a small tarp, having like a, say, a 6-inch piece of twist tie coming out. It's hooked through that grommet, so I can pull and immediately stake it. I can open it up and make room for a large stake if I have to source one off the ground, or a standard stake I'm carrying will twist up and grip it. And the more it pulls, the more load you put on it, the tighter it wants to twist. The Romans did this technique where they would make in the field a ballista. And what they'd do is they'd make rope, and then they would put those ropes under a great deal of tension, twisting them to lock them into the ballista, so that whenever the wings bent back, it was trying to twist that rope even tighter. So the rope acted as a spring. We're just doing it with 550 paracord in a much more limited application. So, in conclusion, what we've got is pre-set up links and color coordinated cords to use in camp. These are commonly going to be used in camp, and so I've set them up. I have a quick deploy RIDGELINE that's hooked to my quick deploy tarp already. I have a long line to handle all the needs in the camp that require one long cord for lowering, lashing, picking up, bundling, etc. I have 4 of the toggle cords set up ready to cinch down large loads, things like that, and do quick structural hookups, or even to serve as part of a guy line onto a flying tarp is the cinch part that tightens up guy lines. It can work that way as well. I have 4 of the Bushcraft zip ties made up in that green, ready to handle those jobs, and they're 4 foot long. So therefore I know how big they are and how big a job they're going to work. I have an assortment of 4 of those large Bushcraft twist ties that will handle the oddball stuff that needs to be anchored somehow or just temporarily held, like gloves, like a jacket, like a whatever, and just attach it for temporary to here where it's not going to be here permanently, but I just want it to hold for right now. Like taking a axe off the pack and putting it on my hip to free my hands so I don't have to carry it with my hands. And then finally there are the 4 connectors, which are the Bushcraft soft shackles, which are doing the job of a carabiner. But they're blue and I can recognize them, and that's what they are. All of these fit together in a workable pouch that's going to be going with the haversack riding in the top. And so therefore they would be functional, known, I know what I've got, and they can all be joined together to make one huge long line. If I really got to have one long line for something, I've got one that way. But it's not so awkward where if I was just, well, why don't you just carry a 100-foot piece of cord? Because everything that you do is compounded by how much that cord you got to pull back through a knot to tie it, lash it, hook it, secure it, etc. It's always getting in the way. And this way it's known lengths that do the job. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. There'll be more videos coming up in the future. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.